Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. So, before we get started, news. There's going to be a new Trina. And how do I sit there and put this? This is something that I feel like it's the actress that wanted to choose to leave because she has school and other things that's going on. And, this is more of her choice. The reason why I sit there and say that is because I was on Instagram and, I follow all these different, like, soap profiles and stuff. And there's nothing talking about the new trainer that's going to be there, and people are like really upset. Like, why would GH do that? And I don't understand. You keep sitting there getting rid of actors and actresses. And I'm like, if you would just sit there and take 5 minutes to go to her page, go to Google, go to Wikipedia, do your research before people just start jumping at the network, jumping at the producers and people like that. They get so angry before they even understand what exactly is going on. Um, and it's the same thing with Nathan. People were really upset, like, well, how could they sit there and let him go and yada yada yada? And I'm like, he chose to leave. If you would have did that instead of doing yeah, you would have probably realized that and saved yourself a lot of time and not look as stupid as some of these people are. Don't get me wrong, there's times where they will sit there and be like, beep, you're gone. Like the new Lulu. But then there's times where it's like with Jordan. Not the newer Jordan, the one before that, where she chose to leave. And people were so pissed off and it's like, do your Googles. You can do all this to be all angry. You can sit there and spend 2 minutes to sit there and do your research, and I get it. I do. Because as a fan, we don't generally tend to do that sometimes. As a reviewer, I kind of like to have a bit of knowledge most of the time. So, going into this episode, now, this is something that was a little kind of odd to me. Apparently, it's Courtney's death, anniversary of her death. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, why are they doing it now? They haven't actually really talked about Courtney in a very long time. Um, hell, I remember they actually showed the actress at one point. I don't remember. I don't know if it was. Oh, it was when Mike passed away. They actually had the actress there. Um, I think she came on the show twice. One when Mike died, and the other when Spencer was a kid. They actually showed her. Like she came back as an angel and stuff. Um, I was just wondering, like, why today? Like, it just seemed kind of out of the blue. So Spencer is pissed off, and he snaps at Esme, and he tells her the reason why he's so angry is because he can't sit there and give flowers and stuff like that on the grave. Now, I have my issues with it with Spencer at times. I get it. Okay, I'm just gonna sit there and say I get it. Um, but with that being said, he's angry that he can't be there to sit there and give flowers and stuff like that on the grave. And Asman makes a really good point. Like, okay, well, what did you do when you were in border school? And he would sit there and practically say he would have other people, um, give flowers and stuff like that on her grave and stuff like that when he wasn't there. And she offered to do that, and he again snaps at her, and they bring up Trina and the gift and everything like that. And I mean, at this point, usually I could sit there and be like, well, Spencer's just being a dick. But that one time a year, I'm not. Here's the thing: I'm not sitting there saying that I'm giving him a pass. I'm saying that I understand the heightened emotion. Um, Now Victor does come and Esme leaves because she's gonna enact her plan. The plan is gonna be today. Man, I can't wait to see what that plan is because we've been waiting for it forever. And Victor gets there. It's just like, I need you to sit there and bust me out. And I want to sit there and give, flowers, to her grave and stuff like that. To, my mother's grave and stuff. And Victor's like, no, because I don't want you spending any longer than you have to here. And I don't want to be here. He makes this big thing about how he wants to sit there and do that. I'm sitting there thinking, bro, so there was times you weren't at Port Charles. And you had other people deliver those flowers. And I get that it's important and everything like that, but like you'll be out in a couple of days or weeks or however time seems to go in these damn soap operas. But my point is, like, you could have just had somebody else do that. You could have had somebody else give those flowers. I'm pretty sure your mother would understand. Like, it just seemed like it was just one of those things where it's like, really? Like, again, I get the heightened emotions, but I felt like this was not OD, but and I don't want to be I don't want to be insensitive and sit there and say it's unnecessary, but there could have been another way he could have went about this. But for some odd reason, this is the path that we're choosing to go, and Victor, gives him a way to get out. Of course, he runs into Trina. Now, let's talk about this whole Trina thing for a minute. Trina's still pissed off. Still pissed off at the fact that, Jocelyn decided to go to war and practically have Trina as collateral damage. So they run into each other and they start arguing, and because Jocelyn's like, what's going on? I haven't seen you in a while. What's up? She was not there talking to Cam about how more or less she was practically avoiding her. And they get into this whole argument. And it's like Jocelyn did not really understood how Trina felt. And the fact that Trina was like, listen, we're gonna be good. I just need some time. Which is kind of funny because her mom needed time and Sonny was just like, that ain't happening. Now Jocelyn just wants to kind of speed through, not grief, but through the process of Trina kind of getting over that. Now, first in the beginning, I was like, all right, Trina, listen, I get it. She messed up, kind of heated in the moment thing. And I don't want to sit there and say that you're taking this too far, but like you are like still angry about this. Like y'all weren't best friends for forever. So to some extent, I was like, Trina, I feel like maybe she's taking this a little bit too harsh. Like I get her being pissed off because Jocelyn clearly does not understand what she did wrong, and she's just acting like, well, I did it to protect you, and I flew off the handle, but there was a reason for it. And it's like you're not getting it. You just like you're not getting it. There's no other way to sit there and say it. You're not getting it. And again, most of this I will sit there and put on Jocelyn. But anyway, they head into class, and Esme is there, and she enacts her plan, which is to share Cam and Jocelyn's um sex tape, um sex tape, um throughout all the class. So everyone in class, while the teacher's lecturing, everyone in the class, they got their cell phones and they are getting alert and they can all sit there and see it. They can all see it. And some dick decided, because the teacher was like, what's more important than what I'm sitting talking about? And one of the guys was like, oh, this, and he puts it on on the video that they're watching. So everyone in class is literally sitting there watching this whole thing plays out. I'm just sitting there thinking, well, it's Friday. I need to know what this plan is because so far, the only thing that you managed to do, Esme, is both embarrass Cam and Jocelyn. And I get that you like. Was that it? Was that your ultimate goal? Was sit there and embarrass them? There has to be more to it than that. I saw the previews, and Jocelyn's angry. It looked like she's angry at Cam at one point. I don't know why. Um, but I could be wrong because, it's the previews or whatever. I'm just like, so let me get this straight. Your first plan to do something to Trina, and it wasn't really that great. And now your plan is to sit there, and embarrass them? Okay. I mean, kind of expect a little bit more, but, yeah. So Sonny goes and visits Courtney's grave, and Nicholas shows up. And for some odd reason, this is the best time for them to go at it with each other. Sonny starts, and it's not that long before Nicholas brings in Carly. And I'm just looking at this like, really? Y'all two feel good about this? At her gravesite, y'all want to sit there? This is the time to act like a bunch of dicks. That's that's awesome. So they go back and forth, and they bring up Spencer and everything like that. And then Nicholas leaves, and Sonny's like, "Oh well, I'm sorry, but I felt like he needed to hear that." I'm like, "Okay, some of the stuff you were saying towards the end might have been great, but like this was still piss poor. You know, this was just bad timing. This was extremely bad timing. Like this was not the time to sit there and do that." Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, Sonny. So he goes on, and he continues talking to her. Nicholas leaves and talks to Carly for a little bit, and they kind of snipe at each other. Nicholas walks away, and he comes back, and he's like, he says something nice to Carly as far as what Carly did and the memory of Courtney, which I didn't even know that she did anything. But apparently she did something as far as the hotel's concerned. I'm not sure what. I know Sam was there talking about it. When they were talking about Courtney. Again, I'm just going to be honest. This seemed like it came out of left field. This whole talk about Courtney and Sam being like, "Oh well, we could have probably buried the hatchet and stuff like that," and it's like, yeah, maybe, but like this again kind of came out of nowhere. By the way, how many people actually miss her? How many people actually miss Courtney? I'm just I don't know. I guess I'm still thinking about it. Like, she was another one of those actors that decided that she wanted to leave to do other things, and then I didn't hear about all those other things that she so called did. But I'm assuming that they must have been something. It's sort of the same thing with Julia, though. Um, I guess the first Lulu and how she left, and I guess she wanted to do other things, and I didn't hear about all those big things that she was doing. So I don't know. I guess I always find that kind of interesting. And it's not to sit there and be like, they should stay at a place that they don't want to stay at. Like, if they want to do something else and they want to explore other options, I think that's great sometimes. Um, I get it. She wanted to leave and that's fine. But sometimes I sit there and look at that and I'm just like, so let me get this straight. Nathan wanted to leave so he can do, like, movies on Lifetime and Hallmark, the Hallmark channel. You left so you could sit there and do some of those cheesy ass movies. Okay, all right. And again, I'm only snipping this saying off of past experiences because you know some of the movies that I've seen in the past of Lifetime has not been great. But with that being said, the woman that plays Esme, she's in a new movie or a movie that came out last year or something like that called something my psycho my daughter's psycho best friend or something like that, which I actually tell you the truth, I'm not gonna lie, that movie actually seems kind of interesting. I want to finish watching it, so they're not all bad. Um, so I really want to understand how did Anna come to the conclusion when she was sitting there talking to Drew that, Victor wants the information inside his head. How did she get to that point? I'm genuinely wondering because they're talking about Victor and this, that, and the third. Hmm. Oh, also apologies for me being late with this review. I was feeling off today, like off, kind of sick, but not really sick. Like it was weird. I just didn't feel good. Um, I'm actually feeling a little bit more better now, and I really want to feel better about tomorrow because I want to go see the Batman. Um, but yeah, this is the reason why this video is coming out later than well it should have. But I just generally want to understand how did she get to that point? Like, how did she sit there and just figure out most likely that Victor once was what information is in his head? Somehow she got there, and I know Laura was there talking to Ava, and they were talking about Victor, and Sam was talking to Laura about Victor. Um, it really didn't matter because they all got together, like Sam, Laura, Anna, and Drew was there talking about Victor. And long story short, they plan on setting some sort of trap, to get Victor, like I guess to assume that it's possible to get the information out of Drew's head, which is I'm not gonna lie, there's just stuff about Drew that I'm not understanding because I remember sitting there watching and there was some stuff that he remembered about his old life, but then it was just like, well, how is that possible? Some of that stuff is just really confusing. It was like some of the stuff that he was kind of remembering, but it's like he shouldn't have actually had access to remember when the new Drew came in. And Sasha's back. I'm gonna be completely honest. Well, one, Sasha has been on this show for a long time. Like she's been on this show um since the second Kiki was on this show. She's been on this show for a while. And I look at it and I want to sit there and like ask, did everyone like what did everyone think about Sasha or temporary Sasha being Sasha for like how did everyone feel about the actress that replaced her for a little bit? The reason why I'm sitting there saying that is because I think that she did a good job. Like I look at some of the stuff sometimes and I'm just like when people are upset when they get a recast sometimes, um like Sasha never, for me personally, she never really came across that she had like these characteristics that only a certain actress could sit there and nail. It's sort of the same way I feel about Jordan. Like as long as you can act, which is kind of like art, it's some people will like it, some people won't, but I feel like as long as you can act, I feel like you could be a good Jordan. Like somebody was not there. I was reading the comments and somebody was like, I'm not really feeling the new Drew. I think the old Drew was a lot better. I was not there thinking about it like, what characteristics did Billy have to the role that is different from Drew? I say this because when Billy came in, he took over the role for Jason. And he played a different version of Jason because Steve, the way he plays Jason, he has certain characteristics that's just like you're not gonna sit there and fully get it, so you might as well just kind of do something a little bit different. And then when you play Drew, he pretty much just kind of played himself. It wasn't really that much different than him being Jason. So when Cameron came in to play Drew, it was like he didn't really have any sort of attributes that made him stood out differently than the way that Billy was sitting there playing him. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong. So anyway, Sasha's back, and I'm gonna be honest. I didn't really care much for their scenes. Like I really didn't. They didn't really do anything much. Like they They sat in bed, they had sex, and then Brando brung out Liam, and then Sasha went in the bathroom to do drugs. That was it. That was literally that whole thing. Oh, also, Sasha wants to get married now because drugs. Yeah. Oh, and towards the end, Sonny ran into Carly, and I guess they're gonna have another one of their talks. Or I get to a point where I'm watching them, and again, depending on the day, sometimes they just get kind of exhausting. Because it's just the same merry-go-round. You know, Carly is hurt, Sonny wants to damn push, and it's just the same. I think this is the reason why Maurice Bernard is like, yeah, we need to change. We need to do something different. We need to get Nina with Sonny because X amount of years for Carly is starting to get kind of old for some people. So, yeah. Anyway, with that being said, I'm going to go. I want to thank you for watching. Be safe. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next video.